Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. Okay, usually Sundays are pretty quiet. Yesterday, not so much, huh? I mean, by now, everybody's pretty much paid attention to what happened yesterday, and we had yet another planned attempt on Trump's life yesterday. So, nothing like having a president, former president, and presidential candidate who's had 2 assassination attempts on his life in less than 2 months, right? Yeah, because that's normal in a first world country. Kind of interesting, obviously a lot of you guys were on Facebook. I saw people were posting videos on YouTube yesterday, talking on Twitter or wherever, you're going to get your news because, of course, the mainstream media was a half an hour behind social media, and the mainstream news was trying to spin this all over the place about what was going on. I didn't post anything because I wanted to get the facts first, because originally the report was coming out, this was 2 guys that were shooting at each other just in the vicinity of the Trump golf course, which that turned out to be bullshit. It was, you wanted to wait till you got the facts. And even watching people talk on Twitter or anywhere yesterday, that's where I was watching, you had all the leftists coming out and going, this wasn't an assassination attempt or anything like that. Yeah, it was. Okay. The FBI has already said so much. So has the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. So has the Secret Service. Okay. Now, we can say whatever we want about the corruption in the FBI, the incompetence about the Secret Service. At least nobody said that about the West Palm Sheriff's Department yet. Which brings up some interesting points, okay, as we go. Now, we now know who the shooter is. Some 58-year-old deranged liberal who has a rap sheet that's as long as my forearm. He's been arrested for drug possession, driving without a license, fleeing police, yada, yada, yada. Basically, he was arrested so many times in North Carolina, he left and moved to Hawaii and started a construction company again, where he was basically building boxes for homeless people to live in. So it's not like this guy is any sort of raving success. Okay, he claims it's a business, but all right, he builds a 8x8 box and says this is a house, and he's a construction company. But this is where you want to take a look at it. This is a guy who put social media posts up, wrote to Kim Jong-un and said, "I'm a leader in Hawaii. Come here. We need to talk." Delusional. He was apparently trying to become his own mercenary company, saying he knows fighters from Afghanistan and Iraq that are willing to go to Ukraine and fight for Ukraine against Russia for a small fee. So he was trying to talk to leaders in Ukraine about this. The guy was just delusional and deranged. And he was a liberal, but I guess those two things kind of go hand in hand, right? So the interesting part is, as they caught him yesterday, the Secret Service was moving a hole or two ahead of Trump to make sure the area was clear. And the Secret Service saw the barrel of a AK-47 sticking through the bushes, fired 4 times. The guy ran and took off. Okay. Fortunately, we had a civilian who saw something that looked odd, took pictures of the car, pictures of the license plate, and they caught him 15 minutes later, about 15 miles away, 10-15 miles away, on I-95 trying to escape. The police caught him. Could you say that if it wasn't for that civilian and it wasn't for the police, he would have got away? Probably. Okay. There's all sorts of speculation that the guy's a CIA plant, same thing like they're saying that Thomas Crooks was, that this is all another JFK 2 that they're trying to get rid of. Another president who's going to take down the deep state. I'm not denying that, but I'm not going to feed into the rumors either, okay? If something like that's true, we'll never know. I mean, come on, it's 60 years since Kennedy was assassinated, and we have hardly any information on that. Do you think they're going to tell us about this one within 24 hours? No. So the interesting part comes out in the aftermath, all right? After the press conference yesterday, where the excuse that the reason why there wasn't more Secret Service presence around Trump, well, he's not the current president. Really? Go take a look when Barack Obama plays golf, okay? Every car that is driving past the golf course, nowhere near, okay, gets stopped and searched. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Barack Obama isn't the president either, okay? But no, Donald Trump doesn't get that kind of Secret Service protection. Why? Well, that would probably be because Joe Biden's in office and he's going to do the bare minimum to protect Donald Trump, former president. Okay. Yeah, so we know that there's not we know there's no love lost between the Biden-Harris administration and the Trump administration, or any of the other cast of clowns that are running this country, from Barack Obama to the Clintons to whoever. They're all colluding to make sure that Donald Trump is never president again. So we get into further aftermath, and then the public response, okay? And of course, Kamala Harris comes out yesterday and says, she's relieved that Donald Trump is okay. Right. Okay, like anybody believes that. She's not. But then finally, last night, after all of this, I guess they had to wake up Joe from a nap or something. Joe came out and made a reply to it. And he said, as I've said many times, there's no place for political violence in this country. I'll agree, okay? I don't care how much I despise Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or Kamala Harris. I've never gone and said, we need to go out and put them down. Let's put it that way. It's not like I'm going to cry at their funeral, but hopefully that's from some sort of natural cause or old age or whatever it would be, not from some radical conservative going after a politician. Though I'm still finding it really hard to remember a time where we had a radical conservative go after a politician, because, I don't know, it was a lunatic liberal that went after Rand Paul and broke his arm. It was a lunatic liberal that shot Steve Scalise, 2 attempts on Trump. It was the lunatic liberals that went after Reagan, that went after Jerry Ford, that went after John Kennedy, that went after Abraham Lincoln. I mean, how far do we need to go back in time to realize that every assassination attempt is made by liberals? Now, the really interesting part of this, and I haven't seen this talked about anywhere, but the Democrats are all, there's no place for political violence in this country. Okay, I'll agree. Do you notice what we haven't heard yet from anybody? We need gun control. The guy yesterday had an AK-47, right? No, we have not heard one word about how did this guy get his gun? Oh, they shouldn't have guns, etc., etc., etc. Right? Let's think about this for a second. Every time you hear the lunatic left scream gun control, that's because they want to disarm conservatives. They don't want to disarm everybody. They want to disarm conservatives. Now, they'll scream and yell after the school shootings and stuff like that. And most of the time, they don't care about that because they're a bunch of kids and distort. I mean, they know as well as we know that all these retarded transgender people are the shooters. They don't care about them like they don't care about anybody else. But I find it really interesting that all the politicians on the Democrat side that are coming out and saying, we don't need political violence, oh, this is abhorrent, oh, they're trying to shoot at a president. I don't care who they're shooting at. If it's you or me, it's no different here. But why all of a sudden haven't they come out and said, this guy had an AK-47. We need to get rid of people that own AK-47s. Right? No, they haven't said anything about it. Why? They're more than happy for this. They know Kamala Harris is going to lose her ass. Her polling numbers are dropping like crazy. Nate Silver, in one of the reports, put out something over the weekend that the electoral vote probability right now is 99.9% chance that Trump wins the Electoral College. Okay? They got to get rid of him somehow. And maybe it's Ukraine. Maybe it's Israel. Maybe it's martial law. Maybe it's the southern border. They got to come up with a crisis. I don't want to listen to all the speculation out there that they're trying to kill Trump and it's an inside job, the CIA or the White House has ordered it. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put it past them. And that's sad, okay? Where you believe that your own government is where there's actually talk of and possibility of your own government assassinating their political enemies. That's third world country shit. And we don't need this. I mean, as much as, I don't know, pick somebody. George Bush and Al Gore didn't like each other, or George Bush Sr. and Bill Clinton, or Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. There was no, I'm going to kill you animosity between them whatsoever. But we've gotten that far. This is how deranged the left is. It goes back to this. I want you to remember this real quick. How many times we've all heard Trump say, they're not coming after me, they're coming after you. I'm just standing in the way. What do you think happens after November 5th? There'll be another attempt on Trump's life. There'll be attempts on many conservatives' lives here. There'll be another attempt on Trump going into the election. That is almost a guarantee at this point. But how many attempts are going to be made on the average voters? You're voting for Trump, you've got a Trump shirt on, whatever, and there's going to be some lunatic leftist that's going to do this again. This is what we're fighting against. This is what we need to be prepared for. Because it's going to come down to this. Nobody wants a shooting war. But I still think come November 6th, we may find ourselves in the middle of one. Pinball out.